Legend has it that the Vikings had a potent herb that helped to maintain stamina and decrease fatigue on long seafaring voyages. And it's possible that this herb was Rhodiola Rosea. And what we'll learn in today's video is how current science is showing that rhodiola has many beneficial effects in the human body. It has the ability to lower inflammation, to help to modulate our stress and adrenal response, and also to influence cognition and thinking. So by the end of this short video, you're going to understand what Rhodiola Rosea is and some characteristics of the plant. You're going to understand the different pathways that science is showing us that this herb influences, because when you understand how it's influencing our physiology, then it makes sense to use it. Finally, I'm going to go over a set of clinical studies that I think use the best study method, which is a prospective, randomized, double-blinded clinical trial to show the effects of rhodiola. And finally, I'm going to go over a few style points. So if you decide to include rhodiola in your health and wellness anti-aging armamentarium, you're going to get a good product and you're going to get the benefit of this amazing herb. My name is Scott Resnick. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm making these videos to simplify complex subjects and to give you guys the tools and the structure and a format where you can turn around all aspects of your health without using conventional drugs. And today we are talking about rhodiola. So rhodiola is a plant that itself lives in fairly inhospitable places. It's characteristic of high, windswept, and fairly challenging places like seacoasts. What has happened is that over time, rhodiola has developed a number of chemicals that it itself uses to help protect its own DNA in these stressful environments. And two of the more commonly studied chemicals are rosavins and salidrosides. And I'll get to those a little later in this video. What's cool is that we've learned that when we consume these plants, these active components actually serve to modulate and improve our physiology as well. What I want to do next is go over the known components of our physiology that rhodiola is known to influence. So the first thing it does is it's known to lower inflammation. And we know that rhodiola works through something known as nuclear factor kappa beta, or NFK beta. Now, NFK beta is perhaps the headwater of so many different inflammatory processes in the body. And when we pre-treat with rhodiola, the nuclear factor kappa beta goes down. Conversely, rhodiola increases something known as the NRF2 pathway. And the NRF2 pathway is basically a DNA promoter that effectively turns on all of our anti-inflammatory genes. So the more NRF2 we have, the less inflammation we tend to have in our body. And if you match that with lower nuclear factor kappa beta, that's a 1-2 punch for inflammation. The third thing that we know is that rhodiola influences the production of our neurotransmitters, namely serotonin and dopamine. And finally, rhodiola has direct influences on our HPA axis. Remember, that's hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Basically, it's our stress and cortisol response. What I want to do now is go over a number of clinical studies that show its benefit. Now recall, these studies are prospective double-blinded clinical studies. And what this means is that they took two groups of a matched population. And with one group, they gave them the intervention. In this case, it's a dose of rhodiola. The other group got a placebo. And what they did is they followed the group for a period of time and then measured established endpoints. If they found that there was a statistically significant difference, it's recorded in the paper, and that's what I'm reporting to you. So the first study was done in Sweden in 2009. This was a pretty good sized study with 60 individuals. And what they showed is they showed that when people were pre-treated with rhodiola, that there was lower mental fatigue and there was greater mental acuity as well. Another study was done in Poland in 2018, and this looked at fewer people. I think it was 18. But what they showed is that the individuals who were pre-treated with rhodiola did better on psychomotor testing and had lower levels of inflammation without changes in athleticism. Psychomotor testing are these computer-based games where you see an object or see a shape and have to either respond to it by touching it or by making a mental calculation about what is going on. And what happened was that the people who were taking the rhodiola showed statistically significant improvement in these mental games. And the last study was done last year in 2024. This was another good-sized study with 50 people. It was based out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and was a multi-center trial. And what they showed is that trained athletes, when treated with rhodiola, actually had better VO2 max. Now, VO2 max is a measurement of how efficiently our body is using oxygen to make energy. What they did is they got a series of trained athletes and put them on an ergometric bicycle. And this is a bicycle that's able to register a certain amount of work over a certain amount of time, reflected as watts of energy. And what they showed is that the people who used the rhodiola had better VO2 max throughout the trial, had lower inflammation, and actually had lower production of something known as myoglobin. And myoglobin is basically a product of muscle breakdown. So this suggests there are a number of different physical benefits as well. Now, the last thing that I want to go over with you guys is how to use rhodiola wisely. Remember, I alluded to the fact that there were two primary components, the rosavins and the salidrosides. A good rhodiola supplement is going to be produced with 3% rosavins and 1% salidrosides. So check your product and make sure that these things are standardized to these different components. Rhodiola can be used for a longer period of time, but most studies don't go on beyond maybe 1 to 3 months. And in some people, rhodiola is stimulatory, and other people, after about a month, they can begin to get some kind of gastrointestinal complaints as well. Just be aware that these are potential side effects of this herb, and if you develop complications, just stop it. As always, I'm making these videos for you guys because I want you to have good information, to make good decisions, to turn around all aspects of your health without using drugs. This is YouTube, so I'm almost obliged to say be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Either way, I'll keep making these videos. Be sure to take my functional health assessment, which is listed at the end of this video. And this is a 5-question assessment that's going to give you an idea of where you stand on this illness to health spectrum from a functional standpoint. All right, I got through that. I'll see you guys in another video, and take care.